do thumbs up for views.
Sure. Okay. Hello, people. Welcome to tonight's Sorell Council meeting, the 19th of May 2026. Apologies for not having the agenda out the front for visitors to peruse before we start the meeting. I'd like to advise that an audio-visual recording is being made of this meeting. I also remind everyone present to be respectful and considerate towards others attending the meeting. Language or behaviour that could be perceived as offensive, defamatory or threatening to any person attending the meeting or to those listening to the recording will not be tolerated. To start the meeting, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of country. I'd like to begin by paying my respects to the traditional and original owners of this land, the Mama people, to pay respect to those that have passed before us and to acknowledge today's Tasmanian Aboriginal community who are custodians of this land. There's a list of attendees there before us in the agenda. Councillor Shaw is here, and Councillor Mira Casada, who's been listed as attending, is an apology. So we need to swap a couple around, please. Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest for tonight's agenda and tonight's meeting? No? Okay, in which case we'll move on to item 5, which is confirmation of the previous minutes. A recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 17th of April 2026 be confirmed. Can I have someone to move this, please? Councillor Nichols and Councillor Reid to second. Thank you. Any comments on those minutes? No? All those in favour of the recommendation, please show hands. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Over the page to item 6, the Mayor's report. This is my report. There's been a couple of omissions on there. So I'd like to add, please, a Red Shield breakfast that attended this morning with Deputy Mayor Larkins. And on Saturday, there was the unveiling of 3 interpretive signs at Flora Park, Dodgers Ferry. So that was a nice little event on Saturday. So please add those on to the list that we have there before us. So the recommendation that the Mayor's communication report as listed be received. Can I have a move for that? Deputy Mayor Larkins and Councillor Reid. Open the floor to questions, comments, discussions.
Through the chair, the Dodgers Ferry Resilience Workshop, what came out of that, please?
It was a follow-on from the previous previous two workshops. The first was storytelling, which I took part in. I missed the second, took part in the third. So by the third meeting, half a dozen things have been topics have been identified as, or 8 topics have been identified as in need of attention from the previous workshop that I didn't attend, and the community was asked to prioritise the 4, and 1 or 2 was included in that 4 to work on those 4 subjects, matters that were raised concerns. So there was, and this was all around the resilience of the community, energy, supply, food.
If I may.
Yeah, Melinda. Yeah.
Thank you. Community connection, including physical connection pathways and so on. Yeah. And I've forgotten the 4th one as well, but it was
the groups worked on their different subjects and then did a presentation, and there will be a further deeper delve into those subjects.
And there's a lot of overlap with there's a lot of the issues raised actually come back to work that council's done. So in this next phase, they'll join the dots, so to speak.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's worth noting that this resilience workshop was done through O'Kine's, and it's worth noting that that's not something that council is doing because it just doesn't clearly state that.
Yes, it's through O'Kine's, and the funding has come through a grant that was given to O'Kine's. It definitely aligns with some matters that have been raised in council, and as Councillor Rees said, it aligns with a lot of our strategic priorities as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
While we're at Dodgers Ferry, as you mentioned, the event on Saturday was terrific, and I'd like to commend you on your speech at the unveiling. It was a lovely speech.
My Winnie the Pooh quote.
Yes. If you can remember it, please share it.
Something about always seeking the sunshine.
I don't know whether it was Winnie the Pooh or Peter. Quote.
But just reflecting on it was a collaboration. All of these projects are collaborations. Collaboration between Landcare volunteers, Sorell Council, particularly our land maintenance people, and the NRM program, and the school and other students. So it's fantastic collaboration, and your speech sort of touched on all of that. So there are now 3 signs that are interpretive signs that share some of the natural features and natural history of the area, and well worth a visit, just as you wander through near the skate park there. Thank you.
Hello. That's right.
Thank you, Mayor. Could I just ask about your meeting with Good Sports and what level of support that they're looking to offer to the local clubs?
After a successful mental health first aid, they had quite a few attending that. 16, I think, attended that from across all the sports. They're really keen to do more in the region as a regional thing, not just a Pembroke Park precinct. So we talked about the challenges, the cultural challenges that clubs face, male, female, bad habits that some of the players, not on the field displayed, but socially displayed, and the things that we could do to support the players that were in clubs that were potentially going off track. Fortunately, we haven't got, our clubs doing really well, and the cultures within the clubs are improving, and that's what Good Sports want to support. Also mindful of the some of the issues that the younger players face, challenges around drugs and gambling and drinking and wrong sort of partying, that sort of thing, which is a statewide issue. So Good Sports would like to address that through more supports within the club, training and...
So it's more around training, governance,
Yeah.
and just talking and officiating, no monetary sort of support or...
No money, just no. And things also like enabling the volunteers through RSA, responsible serving of alcohol training and food handling and things like that, so they can facilitate the volunteers to maybe expand their volunteer base as well.
Thank you.
Through the chair, Sorell Cultural Precinct group meeting, how's that progressing?
Well, so a plan for what's identified as the Makers Workshop has been knuckled down, and that is being refined. site is slowly being cleared or vacated. The Lions Club has done really well. So they've found buyers or potential buyers for their buildings there, so they will be repurposed.
Excellent.
And the men's shed is slowly tidying up and moving their stuff. Yeah, so things are progressing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Enthusiasm is progressing as well.
Thank you.
Almost happy with my report then. Happy with the recommendation, please show that's unanimous. Thank you very much. No supplementary items. Item 8 is the council workshop report. No questions or motions on notice. Item 11 is the work group reports. Recommendation that the work group reports as listed be received. Can I have a mover for that, please? Deputy Mayor Larkins and Councillor Reid. And I will open the floor. Councillor Trenick.
Could I ask the General Manager how the Southern Beaches structure plan is progressing?
Through the Mayor, I don't have a current update. That was that meeting was with Shane and ERA, or ERA as they call themselves now, just around, they were wanting to find out from me what provisional amounts we had in our financial plan for projects, capital projects in the Southern Beaches. I need to get an update from Shane, sorry Councillor, I'm not sure exactly how far it's progressed in the last few weeks.
I'd sort of just like to know a little bit more about the consultation process, because I think that's important.
Yeah, there's certainly there's certainly a lot more still to happen, but I think without checking, I think they were heading off to do a lot of preparatory reports to then start the consultation process with some actual documentation and assessment analysis. So there's quite a few steps still to come in the consultation.
And they were coming back to us anyway, I think, at some stage. Thank you.
Through the Mayor.
Sure.
Thank you. Through the Mayor. CEO, the First Home Supply Program, assuming that's the new federal government announcement that we spoke about last time, is there any more update or any more light on what it's actually for, or the guidelines around the funding now? I know that's been pretty non-existent, I guess. They've made the announcement, but none of the councils or even state growth, and I shouldn't say the ministers, didn't even know what it was supposed to be going to. So is there any clarity around that now? Or?
Yeah, through the Mayor, it's a bit of a voyage of discovery as we go each week, but I should say state growth have been really good to deal with. They've sort of been in the middle of it, trying to negotiate and navigate their way through the federal program and understand how the funding mechanisms are to work from the federal to the state to councils and potentially to infrastructure providers. So we're fairly clear that it is to fund effectively trunk infrastructure to have the site able to be developed. So there's sort of transport infrastructure through bridge over the bypass, potentially bridge over the rivulet, Tasmore infrastructure, Network infrastructure as well. Largely, infrastructure within the site will be the responsibility of the owners and developers, but we haven't yet seen the funding mechanism. There's been draft agreements circulated between the federal government and state, but they're we're waiting to find out how the mechanics are going to work. We're trying to reasonably assist without overcommitting, because there's a significant amount of money involved, and we don't. If we can avoid adding another layer of handling in there, we'd like to stay out of it. But we're just trying to cooperate and help state growth as much as we can, and so the three councils are all on the same page about how they would prefer to see it administered, but State Growth is still working through that with the federal government as well. But it's certainly clear it's for trunk infrastructure to get the site.
But so would it be a recommendation of council of sites, or like how is the council involved then if it's for, I guess, DSG, Tasmania Works, Taswater, whoever, would it be developers then request their site to have the trunk infrastructure ran to it, or is it council says, well, this is in our structure plan and we would like this part developed, or is there any of that?
So through the mayor, we nominated the area over 10 years ago. It's sort of known, we call it Sorell East. Sorell East Growth Area, it's the other side of the bypass. So there's 4 owners involved currently, and that's what, there were parameters that the federal government wanted for sites to be considered. So State Growth sort of opened up to all councils to submit, so they were sort of flooded with potential sites or proposed sites, but only 3 were successful, which is us, Brighton and Meander. So that was the site we nominated, because there was certain thresholds the federal government wanted in terms of its ability to deliver these housing projects, meeting the thresholds that they wanted for first home buyers and affordability. And there's a myriad of hooks associated with this. So that site, that area was accepted as being the location.
Sorry, that's my apologies. I didn't realise that had already been pre-submitted a long time ago. So that's, I was thinking it was just the council regions were accepted as areas that would do. I didn't realise you'd actually already put submissions in for parcels and different projects.
Yeah, through the mayor. So that sort of Sorell East has been an ongoing project. So the best part of 15 years. It's had to go through. It's taken a long time because there's needed to be changes to the Southern Regional Land Use Strategy and urban growth boundaries and all sorts of sort of preemptive tasks had to be done. And we never really knew if they're going to happen or not. So it's sort of come to a head fairly quickly in the last year, and then more so in the last couple of months. We just never thought this was going to appear. So it's very much a work in progress, Councillor.
No, thank you. That makes more sense now that I understand the background. That's good. Thank you.
Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, through the chair. The CEO, 2 project scoping meetings with consultants and engineers. Could you give us a heads up on what that is?
Through the mayor, it's basically in preparation for this year's budget, obviously next year's budget, and annual review of our financial plan. So there's been a lot of meetings in the last month around not only our operating budget, but also the capital budgets, and what assets we're going to renew, but what new assets we're going to build, and it's just around ensuring that we're organised our end with who's going to be doing what and when. So for this year coming up, we've engaged a firm to help us with a range of project management, project delivery tasks, which is Sustainable Engineering Tasmania. So there's just a lot of preparatory work being done to try and help get when it gets to the financial year kicking off, that we get the projects delivered that we say we're going to do. So that's always been our issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Under Community Relations, CEO, you may be able to assist with this one. Fitness in the Park pilot program, how was that progressing and uptake? Was there any notes around that?
Through the mayor probably knows more than I do. I heard from Nat colleague that it was successful and it was really popular, but I didn't participate.
Can I just add, because I've been going to it on a regular basis. So we've had on average about 20 people, a bit less yesterday because of the weather mostly, but it seems to be very well taken up by not only citizens but also people outside the municipality as well. So I'd say it's quite successful actually.
the follow on from that is now the pilot program may be coming towards its end from the sound. Is there intention to expand or increase this throughout the municipality at all?
I think through enough to find out. I'm not sure what we're planning on doing post the pilot. Not sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
Councillor Reynolds.
Question for the CEO. It's not in the report, sorry, but Penner Road, the roadworks that's happening around there, I'm getting asked by quite a few residents around Midway Plain if we know when that will be completed and if there's been any reason why it's taken so long.
I'll have to find out when it's due for completion. I know there's been a lot more excavation and subgrade improvement required, which has taken time. So even though we do test holes throughout, it's not till you expose the road that you get the full picture. So there's been some challenges with the sort of the sub-base material on that, which has necessitated more excavation, more material brought in, and I'll find out though when it actually is due for completion. But it was always going to be a significant project actually to reconstruct the road. It's never really quick, but I'll find out from council.
I did my best to answer it. Then someone asked if there was Aboriginal mid inside it. No idea.
I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Thank you. Just like to note the carriage shed opening and what a significant milestone it has been, and thank all of the council staff that have and councillors and volunteers that have worked for so many years to see that through, and look forward to its opening. And I know further on in the agenda we have set fees for it, which means so my question is, that would suggest that the opening it up to for hire is not far off. Is that correct? Great, thank you.
Anything further? No? All those happy with the recommendation that the work group reports be as listed? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Over on to page 13, the existing petition, Blue Lagoon Draft Management Plan, that's still existing, no change to that. No petitions received. Item 14, land use planning. In accordance with Regulation 29, the Council will act as a planning authority in respect of those matters appearing under item 14 on this agenda, inclusive of any supplementary items. So we have minutes from the Planning Authority meeting. Recommendation that the minutes of the Sorell Planning Authority SPA meeting of April 21, 2026 be noted. Can I have a move on this, please? Deputy Mayor Larkins and Councillor Nichols. Thank you very much. Any comments on those minutes? No. All those in favour of the recommendation? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Move on to item 17, community relations. 17.1, youth policy. The recommendation that council adopt the youth policy as attached. Can I have a move, please? Councillor Reid and Deputy Mayor Larkins to second. Open the floor. This is really relevant now. The youth hub Fitzies is up and running, and the two individuals, Evie and Morgan, are very active and eager to get the youth of the municipality activated. They've done a lot of groundwork so far, and the future looks bright. So, anyone like to ask? Councillor Reid.
Thank you. Absolutely, it's great to see this policy helping to activate Fitzies and our youth program more broadly. Just a question that I'd already passed on to for clarification was just a couple of drafting issues. Under the definitions, there's no current definition for counsellor. A counsellor is not considered a worker or a staff member, so it seems as if we would need to include something.
It says counsellors and contractors, service providers, question mark.
Yes, so it seems as if that might have been overlooked in the drafting, which I've forwarded a question today, so I'm happy that that would be followed up before the official version's published. And I think that was the main thing. There's another part under safeguarding where counsellors aren't mentioned either, so just similar in terms of defining the roles. It would be important to include counsellors as well as staff and volunteers and contractors.
Just got a question. In the policy, there's increase community implications opportunities for youth participation in council decisions, and I'm asking, what is the mechanism for this to occur?
Through the Mayor. So there'll be opportunities through the Youth Hub at Fitzies for the, I can't recall the name, but like a youth advisory group effectively to have input into decisions. And then when we're doing consultation around various council activities or strategy development and various things, there'll be specific consultation with young people through the services.
Okay, thank you.
That's the sort of work that they're starting to establish now.
Yes.
Go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to make the comment that I was impressed with Morgan at Fitzies when we went on our municipal tour with the exceptional driver. I had to get that in. Sorry. I was going to say general manager. I've made two far posts today. I called you a general manager. Old habits die hard. Anyway, I was impressed with Morgan, and I hope, wish the Fitzies every success.
Anything further? No? So all those in favour of the recommendation that the council adopt the youth policy as attached, please show hands. Unanimous, thank you very much. Over to page 24 now. Finance. 18.1 Executive Summary. The recommendation that the Executive Summary Financial Report April 2026 year to date be received and noted by Council. Can I have a move, please? Deputy Mayor Larkins and Councillor Nichols. Thank you. Open the floor. Councillor Reid.
Thank you. It's not addressed directly in the report, but I'm just wondering about the context, given that we had the federal budget last week and we've got the state budget next week. Is there anything that's come up or expected that would improve our position or clarify financial position through either state or federal funding? Or it's
through, there's a lot I could say involving another country's president. No, it's nothing useful. I've got a response to that, Councillor.
Anything further on the financial report? No. Take silence as a no. All those in favour of the recommendation that the executive summary be received and noted by council? Unanimous, thank you very much. It's a very comprehensive report. Answers a lot of questions as we read it. So, 18.2, 2025-2026 capital budget adjustments. Recommendation that council resolve pursuant of section 82 of the Local Government Act 1993 to accept and adopt the below adjustments to the 2025-2026 capital budget estimates. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Renius and Deputy Mayor Larkins. Thank you. Open floor.
Could I just ask the CEO, 3 Street, why renege on 3 Street?
Yeah, through the mayor. So at the start of this current financial year, when we're working at the sort of project delivery and the project plans, we did a bit of a rethink about that job, and formed the view that the maintenance, our unsealed road crews maintenance practices have improved a lot over the last few years, and we just thought that the way the road is now being maintained and prepared, that it would provide an appropriate level of service or function for that area. Like when this project first came up as a potential, it was, goodness knows, probably the best part of 10 years ago, when our maintenance practices weren't good enough and that road was a bit of an embarrassment. So, but I recall driving it at the time of like I said, starting this current financial year, and was just amazed at what condition it was in, and considering how many other small unsealed streets there are still in Dodgers Ferry, its function in a hierarchical sense and its condition was such, I thought, like, it just didn't seem, it wasn't the priority that it was some years ago. So I was a bit surprised with how good it was. So that's the reason why we haven't bothered to.
Yeah, it did look in good nick.
Yeah, it's a lot better than what it used to be.
Thank you.
And sorry, through the end, that was to seal it as well. So that's what we thought. It's just not. There would be other roads I would seal before this one now in Dodgers.
Tend to agree with you.
Anything further on the capital budget? Councillor Reid.
Thank you. The Carlton Beach Road, the footpath between East Street and McCrinner Street, that's been on council's capital budget, well, in the planning at least for several years, and will be started this financial year, will it?
Really, Mayor, I'm not sure that'd be the case. It's we had one contractor doing 2 projects, and they still haven't finished the other project, which is the path along Gatehouse Drive. There was supposed to be 2 teams. It's been quite disappointing, and so it's a matter that I've put with our contract superintendent, but as to what comes out of it in terms of who may be doing the work, I don't know at this stage, but I'd be surprised if they complete that by the end of financial year, let alone if it's just one crew also starting that. So it's certainly still the intention of the organisation to deliver it.
Thank you.
Anything further? No? All those happy with the recommendation to accept and adopt the listed adjustments to the 2025-2026 capital budget? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. 18.3, 2026-2027 fees and charges. Local Government Act 1993, Tasmania Part 12, in accordance with Section 205 of the Local Government Act 1993, Tasmania, the Council hereby makes the following fees and charges for the period commencing 1st of July 2026 and ending 30th of June 2027. Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Larkins, Councillor Nichols. We've had a look at the fees and charges at a workshop. Are there any comments here and now? No? All quiet at the table. Consent? Okay. All those in favour of the recommended fees and charges, please show hands. Councillor Tarantis.
I had my hand up early, very early.
Okay. All right, we'll take that as unanimous then. Nothing in planning, health and compliance, roads and stormwater, facilities and recreation. So we move on to questions from the public. 23.1, we've got questions on notice from Eleanor Coombe, Midway Point, asking about the pump track. And there is a response there from the CEO. And that is the questions from the public on notice, so I can open to the floor to the public. Would like to stand, state your name, stand up, Sharon.
Finally, so it takes a while. Sharon Fotheringham from Fawcett. Two questions on items mentioned in the agenda. The first one on the workshop at Primrose was mentioned in your workshop, Primrose Sands Beach dog management. Could you expand on this? What are you referring to there? Are there any big changes or?
No, we've had a couple of queries from or contact from a few members of the public at Primrose Beach asking council to have a look at opening part of the beach to mainly the central part of the beach for dog access all year round during the summer and winter period, so that they consider dogs as a member of the family and they take their family down to the beach. And there were several options presented to council in ways of making this work. We have looked into those requests, and as the dog management plan is up for renewal 26-27, we decided to hang on and assess the matter with the dog management policy when that's up for renewal, rather than doing something separate and then having to look at it again in September. So that was the discussion, and our animal control officer and environmental health officer reported back that would be the best case scenario as we look at the whole once again in September or October.
Thank you. The other thing you referred to, Sorell East, about, I assume it's development, and that have been on the table for about 10 years. Are you referring to Mount Garrett? Is that the property you're referring to?
It's not the property, but it's effectively the area between the bypass and Mount Garrett. So it's not including Mount Garrett.
I know at one stage the council sort of didn't want to develop Mount Garrett, but only in a system sort of thing. So I was just curious. Thank you. I took a walk the other day. I had a meeting here for which I was early, and I saw Carriage Shed. I think you're referring to the opening. I've never seen it before, and I'd just like to state very impressed. Really, really nice. And I'd like to comment on the landscaping around the area. My dog and I went for a walk, and I'd never seen a lot of what I saw Tuesday, I think it was. No, yesterday, and it's really beautiful. the council, I think, would have a lot to do with that, and you should be congratulated on it. It's really impressive.
Council operations.
Everything looked really great, so yeah.
Thank you.
Now, can I ask on some council procedures? Do the council hold spot checks for drugs on outside workers that operate large equipment and that? Is that?
That would be a nod
Yeah.
from the.
Yeah, we have a policy on alcohol and drug use in the workplace, so it's consistent across all employees and contractors. So we do random testing.
So roughly how many times a year would you do that? Is there a prescribed limit time or?
Through the Mayor, we do it on average approximately 8 times a year. We can also do it under the policy at other times. We don't. It's not a set schedule because that would detract from the randomness.
Oh no, that's right. That's what I'm asking. So yeah, thank you. And there's comments on the ABC during the week. They got one wrong where they said that Clarence Council had refused the development of a hotel at Primrose Sands, so that was obviously wrong. But they also stated that in Hobart, workshops are open to the public, that they can attend. Are workshops open to the public here?
No, we don't. Our council law workshops, we don't. You're not referring to planning authority meeting? Or just council workshops?
It wasn't stated, I just heard it on the ABC. They made a comment in regard to the stadium that it was open, their workshop in regard to that was open to the public. And I wondered if it was the same situation here with workshops.
Through the Mayor, to be by exception. Like we've very occasionally have had like a guest speaker at a workshop, depending on what the subject matter is, if we want an expert to talk to us about it. But as a rule, workshops aren't public.
Also, I'd like to thank you. I found out from Council Marisol today that we were receiving the Flight Parts Opponents Group were receiving a certificate and chocolates for being volunteers. I'd like to thank the council very much for that. Haven't got it yet, we're getting it tomorrow, it's been delivered. But most gratifying was the fact that the council worked with us on many occasions to try and achieve a really positive outcome for the residents that were negatively affected. That was one of the really good benefits of this situation, working with the council. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of our group for that. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Manussi puts in an apology, but she would like to know, she stated that she'd seen development down near where the problem is with the sewerage on the beach. Has the council done a new development there, or has a private residence done a
You're talking about Primrose?
yeah, Primrose, sorry.
I'm not aware that we've done anything, and I would have to find out if a private development's occurred, but we've been doing some testing and monitoring still. I don't know if it's works associated with that, but I think most of those test sites were up on, what's that road, the top of the hill? Is it Carlton Bluff Road? Anyway, the one that goes around that way. I'm sure I mean. So I'm not sure if we've done anything down near the beach, near the ramp, but I'll have to find out.
Yeah, I think she mentioned it was the top of the hill. She's taken photos.
Oh, that's certainly we've done works up there.
Yeah.
But to monitor and test the groundwater.
She just wondered what it was for, and she will be sending photographs in tomorrow, asking for clarification on what's going on. So thank you. And my last question, is there any update coming up to the budget and that on the development of the causeways from the government? Look, surely they should upgrade the public as to what's going on.
No. I mean, there may be something in the state budget coming up, but not that has been mentioned to council. I'm not aware of anything.
Can I ask the council to ask the government on behalf of the community to find out when it's going to get started and what's happening? Is it actually going ahead? It's looking like it's never going to happen.
We can ask.
Yeah.
Phyllis.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Marina Campbell, Dodgers Ferry. Firstly, I'm not here formally on behalf of Southern Beaches Landcare Coast Care, but I thought it's a great opportunity to acknowledge the Mayor, your presence, and Councillor Terenius and Nichols and Reid at Saturday's launch of the Flora Park signs. It's been a fantastic project that Southern Beaches Landcare Coast Care have been involved with the school and with the council and with members of the Aboriginal community. So we're really proud of what we've achieved there. And just this morning we had the kinder and grade 3 class there coming across to the Flora Park and looking at the signs and finding out about it. And this afternoon, some of those children were again seen showing their parents the signs. So we feel really pleased about that, and we are very grateful for the attendance of the councillors at the launch. So thank you so much. A question with regard to some development that's happening on Carlton River Road. There's a footpath being developed on Carlton River Road, and there's been some trees that have been removed. There's some discussion in the community that the trees were removed due to a communication error between a council, between a contractor and council staff. Can council shed any light on this matter?
Unfortunately, we're aware of that. We've done our own investigation, or doing our own investigation into it. We're far from satisfied with what's happened, but we're going through a process with that, between the staff member and the contractor. So we can't say much more about that at this stage, Miranda, but we were very disappointed when we found out about it, because it was not the intention at all. So, far from satisfactory.
It's sort of a mixed feelings, heartwarming, good to hear that council are concerned about that. It's devastating to see any trees cut down, in particular, significant trees. So I can hear that there's a process that's underway, and I would hope that there would be site meetings before any works. I know that now that Southern Beaches Landcare Coast Care are involved with, we attend the site, to be sure and confident. So to see that happen, and you just feel like, oh, how did that happen? It's quite hard to see it. So will there be some information that can come back to council? Back to the community to explain what's happened, because there definitely is discussion going on in community and quite a lot of unhappiness about it. So will council be able to inform community about what's happened, and that it's been a mistake, and that it's been steps have been taken?
I don't know that we'll be able to. We can certainly share any process that we develop so this doesn't happen again in the future. I don't know, for the privacy of the individuals, that we will be able to share any results of any investigation.
We'll consider, Marina, we'll just work out what's appropriate in the circumstances, but between just myself and the manager of that team, we're pretty frustrated, annoyed and disappointed that happened. This is completely unnecessary, so we're getting to the bottom of it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I've now got some questions with regard to Ferry Hall. So if I can just ask those couple of questions. I note that Ferry Hall was an agenda item at the council's 5th of May workshop. Can council please provide an update?
We've done some investigating, I think.
Yes.
So I'll have to hand over to the GM.
Yeah, through the man. I apologise if we get some of this detail wrong, but so we had at the last council workshop, we had a fairly detailed summary from staff, so from Stacey and Rebecca, who were part of the comms engagement around Ferry Hall. So they provided an analysis of all the responses that were received, considered a range of options which we workshopped with the councillors. So they will very shortly be sending out to all the participants a summary of that document and what the options are, what council's doing from here. So that's, I'm not sure how far away it is, but it's very, very close. But in the interim, at least, we're also going, one of the outcomes is we'll be getting subject to the blessing of the department, our own assessment of the building. So building surveyor will do their assessment from the compatibility, suitability to be moved and repurposed. And we're also looking at if we can get a heritage assessment done as well. So we're just trying to lock in those people to do that.
Right, that's
Those are
really
three questions, I'm
promising.
not sure.
That's really promising, and you're not able to give any time frame at this point of when that feedback might be we might receive feedback for those that participated. I understand there's quite a bit to work through.
It's been done. It's just like it's really close to being ready to be sent out. Like, yeah, it's pretty much ready.
Great, thank you. I think you've pretty much answered my follow-up questions because I had a question there about. Well, actually, there is a bit more if I can. The redevelopment of the school, we're excited about that happening, and I think I saw on Facebook today that the Minister attended the Dodgers Ferry School today, so that's good to see that going ahead. And you were saying subject to the school allowing access to Ferry Hall. So have there been discussions with the Education Department about Ferry Hall? Are you able to report on that?
Marianne, I haven't spoken to them for quite a while. I'm attending the meeting Thursday at the school. I always get the description mixed up. Thank you. The school shouldn't be that simple, actually. School association meeting. But I haven't engaged with the department for months on this. So they've certainly lodged the DA for the redevelopment. It's on the further information requests, which hasn't been satisfied yet. So once that comes in and we've reassessed, hopefully it'll be ready to be advertised. But I can't tell you how far away that is because we're in the hands of the applicant, the department. But no, like I haven't spoken to the main people who were there for months. On Ferry Hall. So last time I spoke with them was their position. I don't think the position's changed. If you or someone else wants it, you're free to take it. Otherwise, going to be gone as part of their redevelopment.
They are aware that we're going through this process.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Deborah Salter from Carlton. Just going back to the Ferry Hall report going out to people that participated in the consultation. Given the work that Council is doing on the Southern Beaches plan and also the work that O'Kine's have been undertaking in terms of their future visioning, certainly the O'Kine's consultation, a lot was raised in that about the value of community spaces and places. Just wondering, will the council ensure that some of the things that were raised in both of those sort of initiatives will actually feed into the report as well as what's gone on in the sort of current consultation?
Sure, mate. Certainly in the report that the staff prepared for the council workshop, there was certainly information about that. In terms of I haven't. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the final version of where that goes out to the public. It'll be slightly less than what the council's got to see. Not in a confidentiality sense, but just in completeness of all the matters for us to consider. And I think certainly with the structure plan project, that's one of the outcomes we want to tease out as well is trying to glean from the whole Southern Beaches community their desires and expectations for a whole range of matters down there. It's from recreation assets to commercial to community assets. It's very interested to see what comes out of that process as well.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for engaging. So that will take us into the closed meeting.
We don't have to go any further. Thank you.
Recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public to enable council to consider agenda items 24.1 to 24.3, which are confidential matters as prescribed in regulations 40 and 17 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025. Okay. Stop it. Councillor Reynolds and Deputy Mayor Larkins. So we'll now go into closed. Oh, yes. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you very much. Okay. Right, we want to